All right, let's dig into a corporate truth that, honestly, drives a lot of us crazy. Why the best ideas don't always win. It turns out it has way less to do with who has the best data and a whole lot more to do with something else entirely. So, let's get right into it.
First off, let me ask you something. You've been there, right? You're in a meeting, and the person who is clearly the expert, the one with all the numbers, all the facts, they just get ignored. Their brilliant idea just lands with a thud and goes nowhere.
It's a tale as old as time in the office, isn't it? You've got the person with the perfect spreadsheet on one side, and on the other, you have the person who just has great relationships. And what happens? Well, 9 times out of 10, the decision maker sides with the person they have a relationship with, even if their data is weaker. It's frustrating, but it's the reality we're going to unpack today.
And here's why that happens. In any big, complex company, decisions are almost never made on pure, cold logic. No, they're this messy cocktail of human factors. It's about trust, it's about how people feel about risk, who they know and like, and honestly, sometimes it's just about timing. Your perfect logic, it's just one ingredient in that mix, and if we don't get that, we'll never be able to influence the outcome. This brings us to a super important distinction we have to make. Your job title, right? Your authority? That can get you a seat at the table. It gives you a voice. But influence? Oh, influence is something else entirely. That's what determines whether people actually listen to your voice and do something because of it. They are not the same thing at all.
So here's the first big aha moment I want you to have. Doing great work, hitting your numbers, your performance, that for sure builds your credibility. People look at you and think, yeah, they're competent. But that just gets you in the game. It's your influence that actually creates the opportunities for you, for your team, and for your best ideas to see the light of day. Okay, so if influence is the goal, how in the world do we build it? We're going to use a really simple framework for this called the Strategic Influence Triangle. Think of this as your practical playbook for making a real, tangible impact.
But before we even get to the triangle, we have to bust a massive corporate myth. We all have this idea that the big decisions are made in the big meeting, right? The reality, by the time that meeting starts, the decision is almost always already made. The real work, the work of influence, happens before anyone even walks into that conference room.
So if it's not happening in the official meeting, where does it happen? Well, influence flows through these invisible channels in the company. It's not the org chart. It's the trust networks, the people who have each other's backs. It's the risk ownership networks, the people who informally own certain types of risk. And it's the informal advisors, the people that leaders quietly turn to for the real story before they make a call. Okay, so here it is, the 3 pillars of our playbook. First up is credibility. This is the baseline. Do people trust your capability? It comes from your track record of doing good work. Second, and this is different, is trust capital. This is the goodwill you've built. Do people feel safe backing you? Do they see you as predictable and transparent? And third, there's strategic visibility. Now, this isn't about being loud or self-promoting. It's about whether the right decision makers actually know who you are and the important problems you solve. So, with those 3 pillars in mind, how do we start building them? Well, to apply this triangle effectively, you have to make a big mental shift. From focusing on your project's goals to really deeply understanding the human needs of your stakeholders. And here is a fantastic tool to do just that. It's called the Stakeholder Value Exchange Model. For every single person you need to influence, you've got to become a bit of a detective and ask 3 key questions. 1. What specific risk do they carry? Is it financial, reputational? What is it? 2. What is the one metric that truly defines their success? And 3, this is the big one. What is the fear that they are not saying out loud in meeting?
Now let's make this real. Imagine you're pushing for an operations transformation. You think it's all about efficiency. But for the delivery lead, their unspoken fear is an SLA failure. For the person in finance, they're worried the savings you're promising aren't real. And for the client partner, they're terrified this will make their client look bad. You see what's happening? You're all in the same project, but you're trying to solve completely different problems.
And that, right there, is the absolute key. To gain real influence, you have to stop trying to just achieve your project objective. You have to start framing your work as the solution to their success metric, their risk, and their unspoken fear. So once you have that deeper understanding of what actually motivates people, it's time to get tactical. Let's talk about your next influence move, how you can put this playbook directly into action starting now. Here are 3 simple things you can literally start doing tomorrow. Number 1, pre-wire your decisions.
Have the one-on-one chats to share your idea and get feedback long before you get to the big formal meeting. No surprises. 2. Frame the business risk. Don't talk about the cool thing you want to do. Talk about the business risk of not doing it. And 3. Give your stakeholders ownership language. Use phrases like, "Your team will be crucial in co-designing this," so they feel like a partner, not an obstacle.
Let's look at a quick example of framing risk. You could go into a meeting and say, "We need to change the workflow." To everyone else, that just sounds like more work for them. Or you could say, "To prevent the client escalations we saw last quarter from happening again, we recommend adjusting the workflow." You see the difference? The first one is a task. The second one is a strategic solution to a painful business problem.
You know, all of this really leads to a fundamental shift in your mindset. It's a sign of real maturity as a leader. It's that moment you stop asking, "How do I prove that I'm right?" and you start asking a totally different question. How do I help others feel confident and safe backing this decision? When you make that shift, that's when you step into real strategic influence.
So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question to really think about. Pick the most important initiative you're working on right now. Looking at that influence triangle, where's your biggest gap? Is it your basic credibility? Is it your trust capital with key players? Or is it your strategic visibility with the people who make the final call? Answering that question for yourself is the very first step to making a much bigger impact.